Let me be very clear right up front. Dracula A Love Tale is not a Dracula movie about horror. It is not really about monsters. It's not even that interested in the mythology. This is a romance. Full stop. And if you walk in expecting fangs first, you're already in trouble. This version of Dracula is framed almost entirely through grief and devotion. He loses his wife Elizabeth, renounces God in his despair, and is condemned to eternity. And from that point on, the movie gives him one driving belief: that a love so pure cannot simply disappear. That Elizabeth must return. That she will be reincarnated. His immortality is not about power, it is about waiting. And that is the movie. Dracula spends centuries existing, not living, but convinced that one day he will find her again. And when Mina appears, the film treats it less like destiny crashing in and more like confirmation of something he has already decided. The story does not rush this idea, but it also does not complicate it. It stays focused, almost stubbornly so. So if you know Dracula, this will feel familiar, but also very reduced. Think of it as the version that trims away most of the surrounding elements and keeps the emotional spine. The lore is thinner, the world is smaller, and everything bends towards the love story. The priest does not enter the story until Mina's friend turns into a vampire, and that moment matters because it is when the outside world finally pushes back against Dracula's obsession. Up until then, the film is content letting him exist in his own emotional bubble. And when Christoph Waltz shows up as the priest, the energy shifts immediately. Waltz knows exactly the kind of movie he's in. He plays the role with seriousness, but also with a clear awareness of how heightened the material really is. He brings structure into a story that has mostly been floating on emotion, and every scene he's in feels sharper, not because the plot suddenly deepens, but because the tone kind of tightens. Dracula himself is played by Caleb Landry Jones, and this is where the reactions are going to kind of split. Physically, he's not the towering warrior many people picture, and that can be distracting at first, but emotionally, he commits fully. His Dracula is inward, fragile, and locked into the single emotion of truth. Whether that works for you depends entirely on how much patience you have for romantic fixation. For me, that fixation becomes the problem, and the film stays in that same emotional register for a very long time. Dracula loves, Dracula waits, Dracula believes, and the repetition is deliberate, but it does not involve enough to stay engaging. The romance is constantly stated, but it's rarely challenged in a way that deepens it. Eventually, the movie starts to feel like it is circling the same ideal, rather building on it. And this is where my cynicism kicks in. I understand the appeal completely. The fantasy of being loved so intensely that someone would wait centuries for you is powerful. It is seductive. And I even had someone comment that this is the kind of love they want. And I get that. On the surface level, it is romantic in the most exaggerated way possible. But when you actually sit with it, the story does not give that devotion much texture. It just keeps repeating it. And for me, that turns devotion into stagnation. Instead of feeling swept up in the romance, I started feeling trapped inside it. Also, comparison to Bram Stoker's Dracula is pretty much unavoidable. Coppola's version is messy and theatrical, but it is also bursting with ideas. This film is far more restrained, and that restraint may feel elegant to some viewers. To me, it just made the experience very thin. I did not think this movie is poorly cast. I did not think it is incompetent. The costumes are genuinely strong. The production design has moments that feel carefully considered. And when the film leans into the fight sequences or battle sequences, you could see the flashes of what this could have been if it had balanced its romance with more momentum. But the movie never commits to that balance. Every time it builds energy, it sinks back into longing and repetition. That back and forth becomes frustrating, and by the time the film reaches its final romantic turn, it feels less like an earned conclusion and more like a decision the movie has been waiting to make all along. It did not surprise me, it did not move me, it simply happened. This is going to be a divisive film. Some viewers will be completely taken in by the gothic romance. They will connect emotionally and forgive the simplicity because the feeling works for them. Others, like me, will bounce off it hard and wonder why the story with this much history feels so limited. If the film worked for you, that is genuinely great. There is nothing wrong with responding to it. It just did not work for me. I wanted more tension, more evolution, more challenge to the romance itself. Instead, I felt like I was watching the same emotional note played again and again. That is my take. I hope you loved it, but for me, I did not. I appreciate you going on this film journey with me, and as always, be real.
God send you here to kill me?
God sent me here to save you.